dilaksanakan melalui segala pendapatan yang diperolehi dari usaha MITI dan agensi-agensi untuk menarik pelaburan, meningkatkan perdagangan serta menggalak dan menyokong perkembangan industri di negara ini. Yang kedua ialah ketulusan ini akan mendorong kita menjalankan usaha yang terbaik dan memastikan kita cepat membetulkan sebarang kesilapan atau melaksanakan sesuatu perkara itu dengan lebih besar. So ini kerana bila rakyat melihat apa yang kita buat, mereka akan memberi teguran, malah mungkin bagi idea yang baru. Akhirnya rakyat Malaysia akan faham bahawa MITI dan kerajaan Madani sedang berusaha gigih untuk memastikan Malaysia kekal kompetitif dan bertambah maju dalam cabaran dunia hari ini. Yang ketiga, kita perlu bersifat terbuka lah, we need to be very open. Kalau tak capai sasaran, kita mesti jujur dan muhasabah diri. Kemudian kita perbetulkan langkah seterusnya. Jadi ketulusan ini akan mendorong kita untuk melaksanakan atur langkah yang lebih baik dan untuk kita pastikan polisi ini dilaksanakan secara lancar supaya visi dan misi kita tercapai. So this is the agenda for today. Yeah, I just would like to share that instead of sharing results quarterly, we will aim to share our report card on a monthly basis. Right? I had some concerns by my colleagues at the front, but I think they now agree that we should do it monthly for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Because there are so many achievements to report on, but I do not think it's productive to share them all at once. So I have, before we start, let me just recap on Economics 101. So GDP is calculated, by adding up all the money spent by consumers, businesses, and government in a given period. So the formula is, I think most of you know, is consumption plus investment plus government spending and plus net exports. And for MITI, we play quite a very important role, in fact, because investments and trade, which is export minus import inside net export, are important in the calculation and the economic growth when it comes to GDP. So the Industrial Master Plan and the various other plans that the country has, it's important to also play a role in the roadmap towards achieving the growth that we want to attain. So the next slide is on investment. So I've broken it up to three: investment, trade, and industry. So for digital investments, we have always emphasized this, and we work closely with the Digital Ministry, YB Gobin, the team, the agency, for example, MDEC, work closely with MIDA. So there has been a lot of foreign media interest on data centers in Malaysia. So let me say a word or two on this. Although arguably data centers contribute to a small number of jobs, what is important is that they enable the digital economy, right? So digital economy is defined as economic and social activities that involve the production and use of digital technology by individual, of course, businesses and government. So by end of 2022, the size of Malaysia's digital economy had grown to 205 billion ringgit, representing 14% of the country's GDP, with mainly e-commerce and in-tech driving growth. So together, these two sectors actually accounted for 90% of Malaysia's digital economy. And our target is to expand the digital economy's economic contribution to 22.6% of Malaysia's GDP by 2025, with efforts to boost digital transformation to enhance Malaysia's competitiveness. So empowering all industries and of course our local SMEs as well to participate in the complex activities with higher value add. So a robust data center ecosystem will support this growth sustainably. So the point here is that when you bring data centers in to the country, there will be spillover effect in other companies within the ecosystem that comes in with the data centers. The next slide is MITI's strong focus on realized investments. So people always talk about, oh, this is committed, this is approved. What is the realized investment? So the National Committee of Investment, NCI, this is co-chaired by the two ministries, Ministry of Finance and Ministry of MITI. The NCI approved almost 2,400 manufacturing projects, so it's about 2,386, out of which more than 1,800 projects actually has been implemented. Yeah? So this is an implementation rate of over 75%. The breakdown of the projects is as per the slide. Right? So realized projects are sectors in E&E, metal fabrication, food manufacturing, chemicals and chemical products, and machinery manufacturing. So please take note that from any number of approved investments, there will always be a small number of projects that will not proceed due to several reasons. Maybe the company changed in strategy direction, or priorities, market circumstances, etc. But from what we see, these are the numbers that we want to share with you. About 75.5% projects implemented, and I'm happy to share that in our case, the projects that doesn't pick up is only 1.5% of total projects approved. So 1.4% are not implemented due to mainly companies changing their strategy rather than policy change by Malaysian government. So the other one is, I just want to highlight again, people think that when I talk about investment, although I don't say FDI, they assume it's FDI. Actually, when we in MITI talk about investment, it's both FDI and DDI, right? So the substantial expansion of investment even in local companies. These are some of the DDI. For example, Infinex, yeah, they invest, their expansion is about 47.5 billion, 47.5 million, 15 million ringgit. Then they are looking at IC design and development services. And you look at Inari as well. I think this is a company that many of us know, a local company doing OSAT services. And they are turnkey manufacturing tech solution as well. And the operations not just in Malaysia, Philippines, China, and they have 10 production plants and a total workforce of more than 5,500 employees. So these are another one, Great Tech. This is another homegrown automation champion. They're investing 182.5 million ringgit. This is a project to manufacture solid-state battery products, as well as an automated system for manufacturing battery cells, modules, and packs of various battery technologies. This is, of course, lithium-ion, solid-state, and sodium-ion, to name a few. And next slide will show to you that the strong brand supporting strategic NIP 2030 project. So we have a strong companies that are supporting specific strategy projects. So for example, Petronas is supporting the carbon capture, utilization and storage project. This is a project, for example, together with Rystad, where the initiative will have the capacity to securely store CO2 within the reservoirs of Sarawak in the next 25 years. This is some of the plans. And then Perdagangan, we announced recently, the company announced the first national EV project, the first national EV car targeted by 2025. But we also have Infineon SiC chip, and this is, I think, widely reported as well. So next slide, we want to highlight what are the proactive investment facilitation track. So for this was known as PACU before. This is, of course, run by MIDA. This to accelerate project implementation process. With the integration of the on-track digital system, this is an online, real-time project tracking system. Track has, really revolutionized, I think, in my view, the new way of looking at things and how projects are monitored. So, just to give the number, 802 cases have been facilitated. Among the key issues are related to, as you can see from the slide, customs, power supply, local council, and immigration. Among the companies that have been assisted by Track are Intel, ROM Electronics, and Sydney Gig House. It's just to name a few. But the details we can share with you. But this is what we have monitored that we want to share with you as well. The next slide is on trade. Sorry. Hold on, go back. Go back. IMFC, sorry. So our IMFC This was announced in December last year, and we have started very soon after, within a month, we started operation of the Invest Malaysia Facilitation Center. This is to expedite the process of various approvals, so which include advisory services, guidance to investors. We want to reduce bureaucracy in public service delivery. So these are IMC actually, but many agencies on there, immigration, custom, inland revenue, MCMC, Department of Labour, TNB, Telecom, MOT, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, many agencies are there, but we just want to report that since we established in December last year, we have facilitated 464 cases, of which completed 81% and in progress about 19%. So we will continuously monitor this to ensure that companies that are coming to IMFC is facilitated in a timely fashion. So trade. So this is another pillar that we look at. So now with recovery in global trade, we expect our trade numbers to also improve. In fact, our first quarter numbers has gone up. We announced it already year on year. It's about 7.1% export, right? Year on year, it's the first 3 months of this year, right? Compared to the first 3 months of last year. And based on the UNCTAD numbers, for example, United Nations trade numbers, the value of global trade fell 3% in 2023. For goods and services, for goods it dropped by 5%, and then, but the outlook 2024 is positive. Of course, there are concerns, geopolitical concerns, shipping disruptions, which can and has increased costs and increased uncertainties as well. But we are still cautiously optimistic that global trade will rebound in 2024. However, my opinion is that in the developed world, there are some concerns about the trade numbers. Okay, the next slide, on utilization of FTAs. This is another important KPI. So, because we have many FTAs, right? And our key achievement under our trade portfolio is in terms of FOB value that Malaysian exporters have benefited thus far. So you can see here from the first quarter this year, a total of 130,877 COs, or certificate of origins, valued about 59.3 billion ringgit were issued to Malaysian exporters. This is for them to apply preferential treatment to Malaysia's preferential trade partners. This is from our 16 FTAs that we have. So the top 3 schemes benefiting Malaysian exporters are the ASEAN and China Free Trade Agreement, and also ASEAN Korea. These are the top 3 based on what we have numbers shown. And I think with CPTPP and the rest also improving a lot, including RCEP, etc. Next one is exporters are also encouraged to apply for certificate of origin. So we want to take this opportunity. Many companies may not have yet to take advantage of this, but we would like to encourage as many exporters as possible to take advantage of the FTAs and schemes available. We appreciate if the media here also to share this website, especially with our local and SME businesses. Next slide is on MITI's first quarter 2024 initiatives to enhance trade. So Matrade, CEO is here. Matrade has organized the participation of 94 companies to 2 key trade fairs in Middle East in the first quarter of this year. So we had the Arab Health and the Gulf Food, and IMF also is very bullish about Middle East region, but expecting a growth around 4% for especially UAE and Saudi. And UAE and Saudi are seen as most proactive in reforming and modernizing their economies by entering new industries, strengthening partnership with international players, and building a more sustainable economy. So this is where it's important to highlight to everyone what Matrade also have done in the first quarter. Next, in terms of, we also reported in the first quarter a resumption of the Malaysia-Korea FTA talks. This also is expected to bolster existing trade and investment relations and enhance strategic cooperation in new emerging sectors such as supply chain, digital economy, bioeconomy, green hydrogen, etc. And in 2023, actually, the total trade with the Republic of Korea is about $24.3 billion. Malaysia was actually Korea's 3rd largest trading partner in ASEAN. And the total projects of 390, about $10.7 billion dollars of project have been implemented and generating close to 50,000 jobs. You know, like the companies in Malaysia, Korean companies in Malaysia like Samsung, OSIM, Lotte, SK Nexalis, and IM Technology. So the next pillar, if you look at our ministry's focus, is on industry. So under industry, I'm happy to share that our EV industry growth is on track. I think MARI has approved 1,995 applications for the rebate to purchase an e-bike, with a rebate value of almost 4.8 billion ringgit. Million ringgit, sorry, million ringgit. Correct, right? 4 million, sorry, million ringgit. So this Budget 2024 initiative was announced by the Prime Minister. It's important to attempt to make sure that the EV is also not just for the rich, but also for those who are kind of for the M40 and the P40 as well. So thanks to Maricha's program, one company has been established to be a contract assembler to fulfill market demands on e-bikes. So this is an example of economic spillover from some of the measures that was announced. As for EV charging station, which is a favorite topic whenever I go out, when the media will ask me what's the number, today we have 2,414 EV charging stations so far. We still today sticking to the 10,000 charging stations by end of next year. The charging stations must also be established in tandem with demand, so which is the function of EV car ownership. So we have not decided to keep that 10,000 target. For SME capacity building, so I mean, there's always talk about we just focusing on the big companies, but in terms of capacity building, we need to start with the SMEs as well. I am happy to share that CREST, which is our collaborative research in engineering, science, and technology, has been busy. We, as outlined in our industrial master plan, we want to help more SMEs to work with the universities on producing and then commercializing the right R&D to move up the value chain. We also have a special program for the E&E sector, which is important from this program so that we can nurture SMEs to commercialize their R&D. There's actually 9 universities that are involved in this, UKM, UMP, UIIUM, UTP, etc. Next slide is about capacity building for industry. So we also prioritize on SME capacity building. CRIM, for example, have run a few successful programs to increase the use of technology towards increased productivity, innovation, and growth of SMEs. So we have a target of 100, achieve 50, and technical innovation programs 2024, target 61, achieve 19. This is target for 2024 again, CRIM. So we are on the way, on track now. So what do we want is we want increased productivity, we want the health and safety of workers, we want better control of supply chain data, we want increased productivity and production as well, so that we have more reliable, consistent output. And companies also, hopefully with the support, become more competitive and innovative through resource efficiency. So as you can see, both tech audit and tech intervention is to ensure that right solutions are introduced and incorporated for Malaysian companies, especially SME. Even for MITI, we have for SME, we also have the Industry Forward. Next slide. Industry Forward. This is as of March. For the first quarter, 149.1 million ringgit worth of grant has been disbursed to SMEs, right, in manufacturing to embrace Industry 4.0. The total of 401 Malaysian SMEs approved, and that's the total grant value. And these are the breakdown by top 3 approvals by industry and top 3 approvals by state. Next slide. MIDF also has so far disbursed about 59 million ringgit to 17 SMEs for their automation needs. So far, this is all report, first quarter report, our first quarter report. MIDF is actually ahead of the target, given that it's only first quarter, so well done to them. Maybe not enough money from MOF. But it shows that demand is there. And then for NICO, which is the National Aerospace Industry Corporation, also disbursed matching grants to Pengumuman Aerospace SMEs. For the first quarter, they already disbursed 8 million ringgit to 5 SMEs. So the Malaysia Aerospace Industry Blueprint aims to position Malaysia, as you know, the #1 supplier for competent workforce in Southeast Asia by 2030. Right? So we are now phase 2 of the blueprint of our aerospace industry blueprint, 2021 to 2025. So NICO Malaysia, as the National Aerospace COE, Centre of Excellence, will connect all the relevant aerospace institutions to collectively work as a training and research and tech consortium. This is of course towards developing a professional aerospace community. I will also want to add that previously, without a local certification body, we used to rely on foreign certification bodies and had to wait for our turn for certification audits. This slowed down the process, especially our companies, and made them less competitive against foreign companies. This is why we're also promoting CIRIM as a CB, as a certification body. So next slide is on ESG. I mean, this is important for Malaysia to achieve its target. So as we launched ESG framework last year, and in the first quarter of this year, target is 1,000 companies. So far, we achieved 702 companies that have undertaken the assessment to identify where the gaps are in terms of their sustainability journey. So this will provide some baseline data for them to determine what needs to be done, learn to reorganize, for them to systematically begin their ESG journey. So ladies and gentlemen, so that's the summary report card, what we've done in the first quarter this year, which we now want to be more transparent. But we also want to share with you, this is the last slide on our renewed focus. Right? So I'd like to talk about MITI's refreshed direction on where we want to move. This was discussed internally. We had an offsite, we had major discussion inside as well in the building. So as I mentioned just now, as we are one of the key drivers of Malaysia's economic growth, we want to share our renewed focus on attracting high quality investments. We want to create high value jobs. We want to increase exports. We want to expand markets and then drive industrial transformation. So why do we need to do this, right? So the answer is because we want to clearly demonstrate that what is our response. We want to have a decisive response to various challenges facing our industries and exporters today. So this includes rapid tech advancements, supply chain issues, intense competition for investments and strategic resources. There's of course climate change risk, adaptation and just transition, as well as widening wealth gaps. So basically kita nak tunjukkan dengan jelas, this is our response terhadap pelbagai cabaran yang dihadapi oleh industri dan juga pengeksport Malaysia. Cabaran ini termasuklah kemajuan teknologi yang pesat, isu rantai yang bekalan, persaingan sengit untuk pelaburan dan sumber strategik, risiko perubahan iklim, penyesuaian dan peralihan yang adil, serta jurang kekayaan yang semakin melebar. So we're showing, next slide. Oh, okay, that's the heart. We're showing the world how good relations is. Good relations means good business. So now in a polarized world with increasing uncertainties, we provide an adaptive and more welcoming economy. So any language, any food, any skin color, any culture, any talent is all represented here. So diverse talents and relations allow us to create a better, more sustainable tomorrow for everyone. So what we are trying to do is creating a leading, vibrant, diverse economy, but with a heart. So creating an altruistic economy that welcomes everyone, where conversations around economies are evolving to be less about exclusivity and more about inclusivity. Right? So that would be the guiding mantra for MITI and its agency towards a single vision for Malaysia to be the driving force of Asia's new economy and to be the leading trade and investment hub for the world's best and brightest businesses. So MITI and of course all our agencies who are here will also rally behind a single mission to create enduring value by improving the nation's economic complexity and enriching the lives of our people, enhancing sustainability efforts and providing the most conducive environment for investment, trade and talents to thrive. So MITI's timely reflection of its core roles and functions will provide a greater push for Malaysia's key industrial growth policy. We announced the Industrial Master Plan 2030 September last year. We are very focused on transforming the nation's industrial economy to support our second economic takeoff. So we want to make Malaysia the leading growth engine and preferred investment destination, and as a springboard for Malaysian-based companies to grow regionally and globally. So muhasabah diri kita mengenai peranan dan fungsi teras MITI memang tepat pada waktunya pada pendapat saya. Ini juga akan mendorong pelaksanaan dasar pertumbuhan industri utama Malaysia, khususnya Plan Induk Perindustrian Baru 2030, dan kita akan lipat gandakan usaha untuk mengubah ekonomi perindustrian negara bagi kita mencapai kegemilangan ekonomi Malaysia yang kedua. So kita nak jadikan Malaysia ni sebagai enjin pertumbuhan terkemuka, destinasi pelaburan pilihan, dan sebagai satu loncatan untuk syarikat yang berbekalan di Malaysia untuk berkembang di persada ASEAN dan juga di dunia. So with this proposition, we want people to instantly feel at ease, yet they are curious to learn more. So this is what we meant by most welcoming. So we have a welcoming policy, which is ease of doing business, making it easy and intuitive to grow a business in Malaysia. We want welcoming relations with investors and other nations with open arms, and we like to think we are open and friendly people. I think the PT people here are friendly, and our local culture of helpfulness that smooth every step of the process. So we want everyone to know, especially that the MITI and its agency's strength is to welcome businesses, to connect people, and bring everyone into the most conducive business environment possible. So I believe, and all my colleagues here believe, that Malaysia has what it takes to become the leading industrial, trade, and investment destination in Southeast Asia and globally, and is ready to emerge as the economic hub of the region. So as we all agree, I hope, that as one of the most vibrant and welcoming economies in the world, now is the time to really play to our core strengths. Strong governance, rule of law, solid project execution track record, and a diverse talent pool. And then this is to inform the global businesses that Malaysia is open for business and is the place to be for their commercial expansion. So these aspirations are encapsulated in MITI's new tagline, which is "This is where global starts." Semua aspirasi ini terkandung dalam slogan baru MITI, Malaysia, this is where global starts, atau Malaysia, pemacu potensi global. This came from my colleagues, which we all agree lah, we are all in alignment. So this is where global starts ni menggambarkan perjalanan berdasarkan kehendak yang berbeza, tetapi semua menuju ke arah satu wawasan yang sama. So for potential partners, through ministry, through our ministry and the agencies, they can find the space, resources and connections they need to expand their business on the global stage. And for aspiring Malaysians, we will prepare them with the skills or prospects to excel at a global career in the industry and trade. So for MITI, MITI and all the agencies, is a reminder to always work towards creating a global-ready landscape rich with global-minded workforce. So we will be guided by these four strategic pillars: economy, innovation, sustainability, and people. So all of which will underscore the strategic narratives to bring "This is where global starts" to life. So all this are also reflected in our refreshed logo and a stand-out new look that echo the natural strength, vibrance, and diversity of Malaysia and its people. So in closing, it's my last slide. Thank you for listening patiently. This is where global starts serve as an outward-facing invitation to global investors, domestic players, and exporters. Right? So it's also a call for Malaysians and a reminder of our new purpose, especially in MITI, to nurture the world's most vibrant and our economy through our diverse talents, so that we can create a sustainable future for all. So thank you very much. We have a rebranding video. Just an MC now. We have a rebranding video, and then we will then have open the floor to question and answers with the media. Thank you.
Terima kasih Yang Mulia Menteri atas pembentangan tadi dan kerana bantuan sebagai pengacara majlis. Okay, baik, tuan-tuan dan puan, seterusnya mari kita saksikan tayangan video ringkas mengenai penjenamaan baharu MITI. Okey. Apa sedikit suspense tanpa seorang Jadi baik, okey, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, sekarang kita akan buka ruang untuk soal jawab. Jadi saya jemput rakan media untuk set up peralatan di hadapan. Jadi saya jemput boleh set up. Ya. Ada apa? YB stage di situ. Stage. Dia akan set up di depan. Pusing. Pusing. Suka cita diingatkan juga kepada rakan-rakan media untuk bertanya soalan yang berkaitan dengan program kita pada hari ini. Jadi mohon untuk memperkenalkan diri dan mewakili media.
We read that it's been reported that China's economy in first quarter
slow down.
Has recovered in the first quarter.
But still slow.
So my question is, has that been reflected in their trade with us, with Malaysia, in the first quarter of 2024? And how do you see our trade with China going forward for the rest of 2024?
Yes.
And my second question would be on the tech upcycle. Economists have observed that Malaysia's trade will be driven by tech upcycle in 2024. How do you see that also going forward for the rest of 2024? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For the first quarter this year, as I mentioned just now, the trade has gone up, but with China, relative to China, I think the number in total in terms of trade has also actually gone up, and when we see the improvement in China's economy, will definitely have positive spillover to Malaysia. China's trade with Malaysia continues to be the biggest for Malaysia, as China is Malaysia's largest trading partner. And out of total trade, China actually makes 17% of total trade for Malaysia, so it's sizable. And therefore, numerically, but of course, as we can see from the numbers in the first quarter, the improvement in trade has been also because of the improvement in trade with China. And on the second question, on the upcycle, just to give you the number, now I got the number here. The number for increase in China is about 3% total trade that has improved. And the share of that 3% is about 16% now. So it has improved. But the trade with US has increased even further. Increase to US is increased by 7%. Okay, so back to the other question, which is on the upcycle of the E&E sector. Definitely because of the demand that is coming in on the usage of new technology, AI, etc., and the use also of various new industries which requires the E&E, especially the semiconductor sector. We are, based on our discussion with the companies, as they build up capacity, you will see the export for Malaysia going up. It's a demand and supply function. The demand is strong, but there is a lag in supply because of what has happened the last couple of years. So now people are ramping up investments to build up capacity. So we are optimistic based on the investment that is made globally. This upcycle will also benefit Malaysia because there are parts where the supply chain will then be partly done through Malaysia. Okay, boleh dengar kan? Okay.
Hi, Chi from the Edge as well. Just want to ask if you have the figures for the total realized investment for 2023, and also is there any figure on the approved investment for the first quarter?
Yeah. So the first quarter approved investment, Maida, when can we announce?
It will be in June.
In June. So in June only we can announce the approved investment. Early June. So and the realized investment, you have the number for the first quarter you're talking about, right? Or to 2023. The 23 we already announced, but I'll share with you later. I think the realized investment. Huh? Yeah. We will share with you. Ada. Realized investment. I don't have it off my head. For 2023, about 79.2%. In terms of implemented, because you see the project is about 2,386 projects that we monitor, and when you approve a project, the value that is done in that year could be a project that was in 2022 or 2021 even, because there's always a lag. So, for example, you want to open a factory today, the factory will be ready in 2 to 3 years' time. So that money that is coming in that came last year, most probably some of it is actually from 21 and 22, so that's why we look at that 79.2% projects from the year 2021 to 2023. So that's how we calculate. So the amount is that, but doesn't mean you cannot say that 329.5 billion ringgit, the approved investment, the denominator is not 329.5. The denominator has to be the last 2 to 3 years. Some are of course faster based on the nature of the industry or the nature of the investment. But we can give you the breakdown more.
And also, two of your initiatives, 2 or 3 of the initiatives highlighted in the first Q, it's near Middle East. So I'm just wondering, moving forward, do you also see more initiatives in that region because of geopolitical tension and all those stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. We are, that is for the trade, right? Talking about the trade, we had 2 big trade fairs that we participated in. This is also part of our strategy to prepare for MIHAS. We are preparing for the first MIHAS outside Malaysia, which is going to be in Dubai in November. But if you look at the trade numbers, we need to focus on Malaysian companies also exporting, not just multinational using us as a base that contribute to the export numbers. So that's why we are focusing on that. And we are also participating in other new markets as well. But the number may not be as substantial. As you can see that the total export this year, in the first quarter, half of the export is from one sector, the semiconductor sector. So we need to diversify that export also. And you can, as you rightly state just now, even China is like close to 16%. So we need to slowly diversify the dependency on key markets so that we can cushion any shocks to the big trading partners that we have because of geopolitics.
You mentioned is diversification on the E and E exports, is it?
In total exports as well, and also to focus on driving Malaysian companies' export as well, not just supporting multinationals' exports. Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Sri, I'm Hariza from Bernama. Can you give a little bit information on semiconductor strategic plan? When MITI plans to reveal the whole strategic plan and how it complements NIMP 2030? And second, I believe you met a few industry players 2 days ago. Can you share what are the inputs shared by them? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. In fact, baru tadi, this afternoon, we just had a long discussion with the National Strategic Semiconductor Task Force to discuss on the preparation for the plan. This was a decision made at the National Investment Council last week, chaired by Prime Minister. So we'll be given a month to come up with a high-level plan, which we are now working very hard on this because, like I said, semiconductor sector is quite critical to the country's economy, and it's also very strategic. So the Prime Minister has asked Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, MITI, to work closely with other ministries, especially Ministry of Finance, to come up with a comprehensive plan where, knowing that Malaysia has a prominent role in the global space when it comes to semiconductor, how do we ensure that we remain relevant and then move up that value chain? It covers about infrastructure, it covers about talent, it covers, of course, incentive, etc. And what part of that supply chain do we want to focus on? We know other countries, for example, US have announced their CHIPS Act. Europe also have announced other legislations to promote investments in this area. So I think Malaysia, given our market share in the global semiconductor space, and we want to move up that value chain, we need to have a concrete and strategic plan. So the timeline given to us is until end of May, which is very, very short. Tuan Afi will not be able to sleep, but we will definitely get inputs from all stakeholders. Today also we invited a few players to brief the strategic task force about what their view is about our sector and what they think is relevant to be included in the plan. So we'll continuously engage all stakeholders. We'll be having meetings every day on this, and they'll update me on a weekly basis as well. And we hope that we will come up with a plan that will make Malaysia very competitive in this sector and continue to be, especially given our 50-year history in this sector. Thank you.
Yang Muhammad, izinkan saya mencelah. Boleh kita dapatkan 2 soalan terakhir dari rakan-rakan media yang saya hormati kerana kita kesuntukan masa sedikit. Terima kasih.
Oh, you go. I didn't know that. You all nak balik pukul 5
Sorry, just want to ask a follow-up question on the geopolitical tension, because we also see the volatility in commodity prices. So how do you see that this will impact on Malaysian trade going forward?
Yeah. So when you look at trade calculation, of course, there is 2 components when it comes to the number. One is the value, one is the volume. So we have seen, like last year, because of geopolitics, our export numbers in terms of volume is still similar, but in terms of value is gone down because oil price gone down, a lot of the commodity prices gone down. So the value as export actually gone down because basically palm oil prices, etc. has gone down. So you will have that impact where the demands will still be there, but because the price has gone down, our trade numbers slow down. In fact, I think we have explained last year's trade numbers, also due to falling commodity prices. But export numbers is still there in terms of volume. So that's number one. Number two is, I think last year, we look at the number of global trades also declined by 3%. This year, they expect to grow by 2 to 3%. And our economy, trade to GDP around 160%, will definitely be impacted if the global growth moderates. So to your question, if the geopolitics result in the number 3% going to 2% or 1% or even negative like last year, then definitely Malaysia will be impacted. Then we narrow down to the third part, which is who are our biggest trading partners. So hopefully with China looking as though it's improving better than expectation, that will mitigate some of that decline due to the global growth. So that's why it's important that we diversify as much as possible. And for Malaysia, we are in a very strong position because of our neutrality position when it comes to geopolitics. Many companies that are coming here to expand their trade choose Malaysia because of our neutral position. We are friendly to all countries, so that will help also our trade in the long term. But that's in the long term. As more companies come here, you heard about China +1, which is actually Europe +1, Taiwan +1 also now. Everybody looking at +1 to diversify their risk, and Malaysia should take this opportunity to get as many companies to come here, which will then improve trade as well. Yeah, so the other one is emerging market. That's why we're going to Africa, I saw, South America, new markets which actually, we need to give more attention to. There are opportunities there, not be too complacent on relying on traditional markets. But this is where diplomacy, G2G also is important as we open up new markets for our companies. We have, she's the chief negotiator for all the FTAs. We are concluding one, hopefully, UAE, by June. She wanted end of the year, I said June just now. So that will be important because they will be our first FTA with a Middle East nation. In fact, it's not just an FTA, it's a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, which will cover digital, green, everything else. But it's good, it's unprecedented. And like I mentioned, we just started again the one with Korea. So those are the two visible ones. And the one that the Prime Minister has announced after his visit to Germany is the EU-Malaysia FTA. So that is being discussed at the working level. Scoping exercise is being done so that if it is agree on what areas that we can work with, then only is meaningful to them. But we are, of course, supportive, and we're working closely with EU. It's just about timing. And EU, as you know, is having their parliamentary election right now. Thank you. Any question for my colleagues on my left and right? No. Backdrop. Okay. Thank you.
Baik, terima kasih Yang Hormat Menteri atas kerana menjawab soalan rakan media kita tadi. Dan selepas ini kita akan ada sikit photo op session.
Oh, ada photo op.
Jadi saya jemput Australia untuk memberikan props kepada pengurusan tertinggi kita.
Okay.
Kita pegang dulu. Kita baru pegang siku. Boleh tak Datuk Gloria pegang ikut dulu? Dalil sikit. Boleh tanpa double eye. Terus tangannya okey.
Biru. Flash.
lampu untuk
Yang tu, projector.
Yang kanan tu projector. Atas yang bagi naik sikit.
Okey, dah. Projector. Dia lambat sikit.
Flash bang. Bang flash.
Okay, dia mau ambil video tu. Sekejap Tengok. Okey dah. Okey belum. Okey.
Ya tu sini. Murah-murah
Terima kasih ucapkan kepada YB dan juga pengurusan tertinggi MITI atas tadi. Dan maka dengan itu berakhirlah sidang media kita pada petang ini.